Hello everyone, I'm Marc from Eclipse JKube team and I'm presenting Sprint 192 review. This sprint, we've started working on the 1.1 features for Eclipse JKube, and we also released a new patch version including the fixes to be able to run Podman. For the Kubernetes client, we did a new release 4.13, and we also started working on the 5.0 version, which will improve support for custom resource definitions and code generation. So on today's demo, we'll be featuring our new Micronaut integration. So let me get started by generating a new project using their website launcher. So the first thing is we're going to add the management feature, which will basically help us expose the health endpoints that JKube will infer to create some liveness and readiness probe. We now generate the project and we can now open it. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete this Docker file, since JKube is going to take care of everything and it's not needed. Next, we are going to open our POM and we'll be adding our Kubernetes Maven plugin dependency. Since we haven't released this yet, I'm going to set this to the snapshot version. Okay, and in order to make it easier for testing this with Minikube, we are going to set the port as a node port. Okay, so the service will be exposed as a node port. Okay, next we are going to generate a simple controller. Okay, so the code for the controller is this one. Basically, we will be greeting whenever we go to the root path, and if we say hello and a parameter and a path parameter, we will be saying hello, whatever. So next, we're also going to enable the health endpoints in our application configuration. So in this case, we are going, this is a standard Micronaut configuration, and everything should be ready by now. So let me, okay. So now that I've set up my environment, we can do the simple, we are going to do a Maven packaging and then perform the build and resource JKube goals. So the image is being built using Docker, and the cluster resource manifests have been generated. So we can check them, and this is the service. As we said, all of the configuration was inferred by JKube. We could even change this port by using standard Micronaut configuration, but we're not going to change it. And also, since we have this health enabled, JKube added for us some liveness and readiness probe. So now it would be as simple as applying the resources to the cluster. Okay, that's it. So also one of the advantages of using JKube is that you get to use our standard Maven goals. So for example, we can read the logs for our container using our log goal. So we are actually checking the logs of the application in real time, so we can see that it actually started. We could also check this using getpods. So now if we open this in a browser, we can see the message. It's also hello world. Yeah, so it's working as expected. So as usual, we could also use the debug goal. Okay, let me rerun this. Okay, it's working now. So now the debug is being forwarded. So we could add a simple remote configuration. For example, and we should be able to connect to, yeah. So again, we open the service, and since we added the breakpoint there, we should be able to hold. Okay, we see that the breakpoint stopped. We could replace this value, for example, and yeah, the value was replaced. So everything is working as expected. Again, you see the advantage of using JKube, that just by adding these small features, we get to work with all of our standard goals. Next, I'm going to showcase the same, but with OpenShift. So again, everything should work out of the box with our plugin. Let me replace the Kubernetes Maven plugin by the OpenShift Maven plugin, which will generate OpenShift specific resources. So I'm going to switch to my OpenShift cluster. Okay, so same as before, but instead of using the KHS prefix, we are going to use the OC prefix. So we are going to build, resource, and apply. So if we check here, the build should generate a build pod, and we should see it here. Yeah, this is the build pod. We are using an S2I build strategy, which is default for OpenShift. Okay, the deployment is started. And now the container, the final pod container is being created. Again, since we added these health checks, it won't become ready until the health check passes. Okay, now it's ready. So if we go to the route that JKube generates for us, we should be able, yeah. Hello from OpenShift. So yeah, it works. Again, as usual, we get to use any of our goals. So again, we can undeploy, and all of these resources that we generated should be deleted for us. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, everything worked as expected. So this is all for today's demo. We really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining.